Hi, everyone. Welcome to our newest LinkedIn Live. I'm here with our founder and CEO, Ken Fee, and we're going to discuss hybrid cloud optimization. As most people in tech are aware, the hybrid environment is a reality these days, and there are some really complex aspects when learning how to optimize that from both operational and financial perspectives. So, Ken, can you introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know who you are just yet and why you care about the success of businesses being able to optimize their spending when it comes to hybrid environments?
Sure. Thanks, Jen. Yeah. Jen mentioned I'm the founder and CEO of BTA. I've been working in the technology and the business sides of things for longer than I probably care to admit, but better than 20 years. I've got a pretty good understanding of what these challenges are.
Mhm.
Um, when it comes to cloud or hybrid cloud or multi-cloud, um, I think there's a level of diligence here that needs to be applied. One of the things I always like to tell people is avoid just following the herd. When BTA, business, technology, and architects, there's a reason business comes first. Uh, Architects is third, and technology is second. But really, business drives architecture that drives technology selection. You're going to see a lot of common technology selections, like the types of clouds, but the business piece of it is where uh, some people get hung up because not everybody's business is the same, and that's kind of a red herring around these things. So knowing where to start is huge. Understanding what tools am I using. If I'm in a hybrid cloud environment, or I'm in a hundred. If I'm in a hybrid cloud environment, do you have the tools and the instrumentation to monitor um, with a level of precision how your apps are performing? The in the cloud apps versus the on-prem or in the colo apps, and what's the customer experience look like? That's a visibility problem, uh,
Mhm.
and so there's lots of visibility tools out there in the market that can help you with this. Uh, but when we're talking about cloud economics, that's really comes down to ROI. Um, and there's tons of ROI tools out there. Whether you look at manufacturers' tools, some custom spreadsheets, obviously any ROI that you do needs to be based on whatever your organization's uh, financial metrics are. That's you've got to make that ROI your own. There's lots of resources. You just have to no one analysis fits every scenario. Um, but ultimately, why do people go to cloud? It's really about being able to deploy or deliver quickly and having the ability to scale. That's been the major value prop around cloud, not having to maintain infrastructure. Um,
Mhm.
the other piece of this that really probably doesn't get enough press is how do what's the governance look like around these things? How do you measure success? What's the financial success? Is it, we're going from a CapEx model to an OpEx model? Um, am I increasing revenue? Am I increasing productivity of my employees? Am I faster to market with a particular product or service or offering? Is my goal customer retention? Is that why I'm going to cloud? Uh, and customer retention goes along with customer experience. Also known as the apps perform well. And back to one of the points I mentioned just a minute ago is how do you monitor all that? How do you monitor and optimize that and actually uh, be proactive about solving problems versus being reactive? And so, like I said, I've been doing this uh, in the business for well over 20 years. I've probably been an architect for 20 years. And it's really for me about helping customers make good decisions on their path to and from the cloud. It used to be data center consolidation. Then the last 10 years has been about cloud migration and finding that equilibrium that's optimal for the customer specific business requirements is where we find um, a lot of opportunity, and I take a lot of personal satisfaction out of helping customers solution. Everybody's metrics for success are different, and their risk appetites are different. So, having these conversations, not just with the technology people, but working with the business stakeholders that are funding these initiatives is key.
Absolutely. So, can you go over how these decisions are made, or rather, how they should be made, and what businesses need to be thinking about when allocating their data, apps, workload, et cetera?
Sure, sure. And I'll start out with BTA. We're a consulting and a training firm, and I can tell you we're making very different decisions about where we operate workloads. Whether we place them in our own colo data center because we run a lot of physical equipment that we do training with. And now we're actually even looking at how do we push some of that out to the cloud. But most of our business operation systems are cloud driven or SaaS driven. And that's very different from where we were just even 2 or 3 years ago. I see us, for what we do, we'll be trending more to cloud, but we will still always have some level of on-prem in a colo. Might be a rack, might be a half a rack, but that's how we're operating. Now, let's talk about a customer. Have a very large manufacturing customer. They're spending $80 million a year plus on cloud. And the use case here was they were running out of space in their data centers, and their businesses, the business entities within the business, the units, needed faster time to market on new apps, new workloads delivered. And so this customer largely lifted and shifted a lot of, we'll call it legacy applications, and moved them to the cloud. And it was all about speed and scale. And this made a lot of sense initially because the business problem was the time to deliver infrastructure. And through COVID, we experienced a ton of delays, 6, 12-month lead times on net new equipment. So going to cloud made a ton of sense. But the thing the customer didn't do was they didn't optimize their applications. They didn't make them cloud ready. And they were largely running VMs in the cloud, and that's one of the most expensive ways to run a VM. And so after some analysis, we found that they could spend $20 million on some hardware and put that hardware in a co-location service provider, and spend probably $4 million on services to help them automate, deploy, operate, and maintain that. And they saved over 50 million. They saved over 50 million in year one. And that's huge. Doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. If you're, a Fortune 100 or, a small startup, 50 million in a year is huge. And then looking beyond, year one, because there's migration time. After you get through that first year of repatriating workloads back into your co-location facility, they're looking at 70 million annually in savings in years 2 and 3. And they could sweat those assets, up to years 4 and 5. But more than likely, in year 4, there's going to be a dramatic technology shift that's going to increase performance, decrease power consumption, and yield even more significant savings over time. So we're typically recommending that customers focus on, these 3-year refresh cycles because it's more sustainable, it's more green, you're shrinking your carbon footprint. And that's probably going to make the most sense. But again, it'll be a decision that they'll make at a point in time when they can evaluate what are the new technologies in the market, and does it make sense for me to upgrade? Does it make sense for me to maybe migrate back to cloud, have those cloud economics changed?
Yeah, absolutely. So that example must kind of be an outlier. So what kind of results do smaller organizations see here?
Yeah, it's not an outlier. We worked with a mid-sized SaaS customer, and they were spending, $3 million plus annually on cloud, and about $1 million of that was storage costs. They spent $600,000 on servers, literally 2 racks of servers and some NVMe storage. And that met their capacity needs. And they amortized it over 5 years. So they were looking at spending approximately $150,000 a year on operating costs. That included the colo, and they're targeted to save $6.5 million over 5 years. And I just said that enterprise was looking at but up until 3-year payback. Well, it's year 1 payback really, but that 3-year refresh. This customer just felt like they wanted to, extend that out to 5 years because they felt like they could sweat those assets, and that's significant.
Yeah.
$2.2 million a year ish. So it's not insignificant even for a small organization.
Right. Absolutely. And I know you've mentioned, some decisions that, you made for our company, and, what else do you have to say about, how you personally make those decisions and decisions that we've made for customers?
Yeah. So, we make decisions on our own business. We advise our customers on decisions we think they should make. And we try to bring them facts and not feelings when it comes to those things. But the bottom line here, in any business, you have to think about what your desired outcomes are. What are the use cases that will deliver those outcomes? And then how do you deliver that in the most financially and operationally sustainable way? That's what we're really talking about here. One thing I've learned in all the time that I've been in the business is that the only thing that is constant is change, whether it's technology performance, accounting regulations, the economics of acquiring versus renting. What you really need to focus on as an organization is what's the outcome? What do you want to happen? And what are we doing today? And are we being vigilant about the market economics and how it's evolving? Decisions we make today around moving to the cloud or moving back from the cloud or finding some equilibrium, you have to have metrics and key performance indicators that you're tracking, weekly, monthly, quarterly, that show that your assumptions are delivering the expected value, the expected ROI. So, again, this is pretty high level stuff, but there's a lot that goes into these conversations. The financial side is very unique for most customers. The technology side, there's probably 80 to 90% similarity. Do we have any questions, Jen?
We actually do have one, and it's what if I just spent a ton of money moving things to the cloud, and then things have changed, within the business, and when would you suggest maybe pulling things back on-prem?
Okay, so typical consultant's answer is pulling it back on-prem might be the answer, maybe the answer, but it really depends. And this goes back to that those costs have changed. Have you been tracking that consistently? What are the problem areas? Are there ways to optimize your costs in the cloud? What's the problem area? What's the business context? Has your business changed, or has just the cloud economics changed? And so you need to look at, does it make sense to dedicate time to solving this problem? Are you trying to get more done? You can't just say, hey, move it all back in a vacuum. Much like you can't say move it all to cloud either. The ROI and not impacting the business meeting or exceeding their objectives will ultimately drive this decision. Technology can't operate in a vacuum. We've got to look at how we impact the business. And most of our customers are going to have a hybrid / multi-cloud environment for the foreseeable future. Some will go all cloud because that makes sense for them. Some will keep it all on-prem because they're concerned about security. It might be not wanting to run things on other people's infrastructure. And again, look at the federal and the defense markets. They're very focused on private solutions. There is a GovCloud that drives a lot of things, but some things will always be in a data center just because of the sensitivity or the nature of that application. You know, architectural process and guidance help you build that roadmap to the business outcomes and ultimately clarify approaches. And this is where we as BTA live. We love working with customers on tying their technology and their architecture initiatives to the business so that it's measurable and can deliver real business value and not just be a science project.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Ken, for coming on today. And everyone, I'm going to drop a link in the comments and would love for anyone who's interested to reach out and just, chat with us and schedule a conversation so we could help you with, hybrid cost optimization. We'd love to do that for you. So thanks again, Ken. And
great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen, for putting this together. And thanks to everyone who's joined and who's watching it later. As Jen said, feel free to reach out to our team, with the link in the chat, or go to gobta.com and click the contact us button. But we'll make sure we get you to the right person on our team, and we look forward to working with you. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one of these.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Take care.